In the beginning, there were darkness. There were darkness. There was darkness. Yeah. Start in the chat. Start. Yeah. No. How you doing? No. Mine is working a little better, but I'm using my phone. I don't know why my microphone's not picking up the way it should be. I don't hear anything. Settings. Audio. To switch to my microphone on that one because people are shooting out fireworks outside. Or it's technically illegal. My mouth isn't moving. I'm not surprised. Ooh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming. Hello. Did you hang up? There you go. So, it's 4th of July, Cubs. Let me switch over to chatting for a moment. Boop. There we go. Still don't know why my mouth is moving. It doesn't want to go with my microphone. Oh well. So, you crazy Cubs. I know you're out there because you are some wild and crazy Cubs. Okay, well, it did finally go up. That's nice. So, how you Cubs doing? Dealing with all the crazy fireworks for those of you in the States? I'll have to figure out why my mouth isn't moving. Maybe I'm just talking too psychically. Or it just doesn't want to, move my mouth as much as that. I don't know. Experimental optimizations. Bridger is showing at least some expression. Anyway. What I wanted to talk to you Cubs about is This nation of ours. And I'm going to read some important documents. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at my book. Because, I don't read everything online. Oh. Shoot. Let me get that picture. Let me see. Mm-hmm. That one. Mm-hmm. Save that one. Just as a JPEG. Go to since that's where I've been adding everything. I don't want no stinking closed captions. Sorry. It just does its own. Okay. Spin that. Not cover me, because. Anyway. Why do we celebrate today? It's because of this document. The Declaration of Independence. Now, I don't expect you to be able to read the picture or anything else. That's what I'm going to read from the book, what it says. As I sit here with headsets on so I don't hear the fireworks outside and drink my Earl Grey tea. But hey, dramatic readings are dramatic readings, right? Okay. So, the Declaration of Independence. In Congress, July 4th, 1776. The unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume, among the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator within certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on which such principles as organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate the government's long established should not be changed for light or transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms of which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patent sufferance of these colonies, and such is now a necessity which restrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries, and usurpations, all having the direct object the establishment of absolute tyranny over the states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He hath refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in the operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly, for opposing with many firmness his invasions of the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the states remaining in the meantime exposed to the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions from within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither, and raising the conditions of new appropriations of land. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone, for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payments for their salaries. He has elected a multitude of new offices, and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has erected a multitude of new offices. I did that one. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our own constitution, and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment by any murders which they may commit on the inhabitants of the state, for cutting off trade with all our parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us, in many cases, of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested in power to legislate for all of us in cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. Oh, that's not fair. In every stage of these oppressions we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered by only repeated injury. A prince whose charter is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and our settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, and would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of the consanguinity. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world to restitute of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they will have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And then it just goes through all their signatures. It's from Massachusetts, John Hancock, Samuel Adams, John Adams, Robert Treats Payne, and Elbridge Gerry. From New York, William Floyd, Philip Livingston, Francis Lewis, and Lewis Morris. From New Jersey, Richard Stockton, John Witherspoon, Francis Hopkins, John Hart, Abraham Clark. From Pennsylvania, Robert Morris, Benjamin Rush, Benjamin Franklin, John Morton, George Clymer, James Smith, George Taylor, James Wilson, George Ross. From Virginia, George White, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee, Carter Braxton. From Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Paca, Thomas Stone, Charles Carroll of Carrollton. From Delaware, Caesar Rodney, George Reed, and Thomas McKean. From New Hampshire, Josiah Bartlett, William Whipple, and Matthew Thornton. From Connecticut, Roger Sherman, Samuel Huntington, William Williams, Oliver Walcott. From Rhode Island, Stephen Hopkins, and William Ellery. From North Carolina, William Hopper, Joseph Hughes, and John Penn. From South Carolina, Edward Rutledge, Thomas Hayward Jr., Thomas Lynch Jr., and Arthur Middleton. And from Georgia, Button Gwinnett, Lyman Hall, and George Walton. The next document I have is the Articles of Confederation, but they were replaced by the Constitution. I don't have the picture of the articles. So I will skip to the Constitution. Alright, with the Treaty of Paris. But the Declaration of Independence is what was signed on July 4th, 1776. That is what we are supposed to be celebrating today. Independence from England, and supposedly the end of tyranny. Oh, we know that one. Okay. Now for the Constitution. Again, I don't expect people to be able to read it. One, it's in cursive. But I wanted to read it anyway. Again, I do have a copy of it here in my hand, so. And I don't know who else here to be hearing me, but yeah, that's the way of the world. Okay. Not that one. Get back to on stream. Okay. So, the Constitution was written roughly 11 years later. So, oh, and I'm seeing fireworks across the street, which are Currently illegal to be shooting off in town. I mean, we've been in a freaking drought most of the year. The county released the fire ordinances less than a week ago. The city, however, has not. And of course, this being Texas, no one seems to give a flying fuck. So, let's get on with the Constitution, shall we? The Constitution of the United States of America from 1787. This is a lot of legalese, I warn you now. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for a common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Article 1, Section 1. All legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and a House of Representatives. Section 2. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members chosen every second year by the people of their several states, and the electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislature. No person shall be a representative who shall not have attained the age of 25 years and have been 7 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of that state in which they shall be chosen. Representatives and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included within this union, according to their representative numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. While actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and shall subsequent term of 10 years in such a manner which they shall direct by law. The number of representatives shall not exceed 1 for every 30,000 in each state, but each state shall have at least 1 representative. And until enumeration shall be made, the state of New Hampshire shall be entitled to choose 3, Massachusetts 8, Rhode Island and Providence Plantations 1, Connecticut 5, New York 6, New Jersey 4, Pennsylvania 8, Delaware 1, Maryland 6, Virginia 10, North Carolina 5, and South Carolina 5, and Georgia 3. That's how they started. When vacancies happen in the representative from any state, the executive authority thereof shall write writs of election to fill each vacancy. The House of Representatives shall choose their Speaker and other officers, and shall have sole power of impeachment. Section 3. The Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, chosen by legitimate legislature thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. Immediately after they shall be assembled in consequence of the first election, They shall be divided equally as may be into 3 classes. The seats of senators of the first class shall be vacated at the expiration of the 2nd year. Of the 2nd class, the expiration of the 4th year. And of the 3rd class, the expiration of the 6th year. So that 1/3 may be chosen every 2nd year. And if vacancies happen by resignation or otherwise during the recess of legislature of any state, the executive thereof may make temporary appointments until the next meeting of the legislature, which shall then fill such vacancies. That's interesting. No person shall be a senator who shall not have attained the age of 30 years and been 9 years a citizen of the United States, and who shall not, when elected, be an inhabitant of the state for which he shall be chosen. Now, that's something that bothers me. That wording is just weird. So they have to be chosen from outside the states to be a representative? That's just... said that on the House, too. It's crazy. Okay. The Vice President of the United States shall be the President of the Senate, but shall have no vote, unless they be equally divided. The Senate shall choose their other officers, and also a President pro tempore, in the absence of the Vice President, or when he shall exercise the office of the President of the United States. The Senate shall have the sole power to trial all impeachments. When sitting for the purpose, they shall be of oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside. And no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further to the removal from office, and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. So that says a lot. If you haven't been impeached, you are disqualified from holding any office after that. Interesting. Section 4. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. But the Congress may at any time by law make or alter regulations, such as to the places of choosing senators. Congress shall assemble at least once every year, and such meeting shall be on the first Monday in December, until they shall, by law, appoint a different day. Section 5. Each House shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority shall constitute the quorum to do business, but a smaller number may adjourn from day to day, and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each House may provide. Each House may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and, with the concurrence of 2/3, expel a member. Each House shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may be their judgments to require secrecy, and the yeas and nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at the desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered into the journal. Neither house during the session of Congress shall, without the consent of one another, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that at which the two houses shall be sitting. Section 6. The senators and representatives shall receive a compensation for their services, to be ascertained by law, and paid out of the Treasury of the United States. They shall, in all cases except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during the attendance of the session at their respective houses, and in going to and returning from the same. And for any speech or debates in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. Interesting. No senator or representative shall, during the time for which he was elected, be appointed to any civil office under the authority of the United States, which shall be created, or the emoluments whereof shall be increased during such time. And no person holding any office under the United States shall be a member of either house during his continuance in office. So if you're already in office, you can't be in another office. Section 7. All bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concur with amendments as on other bills. Every bill which shall be passed by the House of Representatives and the Senate shall, before it becomes a law, be presented to the President of the United States. If he approve, he shall sign it, but if not, he shall return it, with his objections to that house in which it shall have originated, who shall enter the objections at large on their journal, and proceed to reconsider it. If after such reconsideration 2/3 of the House shall agree to pass the bill, it shall be sent, together with the objections, to the other House, and which it shall likewise be reconsidered, and if approved by 2/3 of that House, it shall become law. But in all such cases the votes of both Houses shall be determined by yeas and nays, and the names of the persons voting for and against the bill shall be entered in the journal for each House respectively. If any bill shall not be returned by the President within 10 days, Sundays excepted, after it shall have been presented to him, the same shall be law. In like manner, if he has signed it, unless the Congress by their adjournments prevents its return, in which case it shall not be a law. So the President has 10 days to sign it, or send it back. If he does sign it and doesn't send it back in time, he effectively kills it. Every order, resolution, or vote to which the concurrence of the Senate and the House of Representatives may be necessary, except on a question of adjournment, shall be presented to the President of the United States, and before the same shall take effect, shall be approved by him, or being disapproved by him, shall be repassed by 2/3 of the Senate and the House of Representatives, according to the rule and limitations prescribed in the case of bill. Section 8. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts, and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States. But all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. To borrow money on the credit of the United States, to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with Indian tribes, To establish a uniform rule of naturalization, uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. To coin money, regulate the value thereof, and of foreign coin to fix the standard of weights and measures. To provide the punishment for counterfeiting of securities of the current coin of the United States. To establish post offices and post roads. To promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors, inventors, and exclusive rights to their respective writings and discoveries. Let me say that one again loudly for the back of this classroom. To promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. Okay. To constitute tribunals inferior to the Supreme Courts. To define and punish piracies and felonies committed on the high seas and offenses against the laws of nations. To declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and to make rules concerning captures on land and water. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be for longer than 2 years. To provide and maintain a navy. To make rules for the government and regulation of the land of naval forces. To provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. To provide for organizing, arming, and disciplining the militia, and for governing such part of them as they may be employed in the service of the United States, reserving to the states respectively an appointment of the officers, and the authority of training the militia according to the discipline prescribed by Congress. To exercise executive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such districts not exceeding 10 miles square, as may, and cession of particular states and the acceptance of Congress become the seat of government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the states in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying the execution of the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested in the Constitution of the government by the United States, and for the department or officer thereof. Section 9. The mitigation or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit, and shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808, but a tax or duty may be imposed on such importations not exceeding $10 for each person. The Constitution of the United States has a slave tax. I love reading these things. The privilege of writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended, unless and when, in cases of rebellion or invasion, the public safety may require it. No bill or retainer or ex post facto law shall be passed. No capitation or other direct tax shall be laid, unless in proportion to the census and enumeration herein before directed to be taken. No tax or duty shall be laid on articles exported from any state. No preference shall be given to any regulation of commerce or revenue of the ports of one state over those of another, or shall vessels be bound to or from one state be obligated to enter, clear, or pay duties to another. So no interstate tax. Good to know. No money shall be drawn from the treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law, and a regular statement and account of the receipts and expenditures of all public money shall be published from time to time. That would be an interesting thing to find. Like, what are the public receipts right now? Okay. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office or profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any presents, emoluments, office, or title of any kind whatsoever from any king, prince, or foreign estates. So if you're in office, you're not allowed to accept gifts from other countries. Kind of a blank slate there. Section 10. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque or reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credits, or anything but gold or silver coin a tender in payments or debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contacts, or grant any title of nobility. No state shall, without the consent of the Congress, lay any imposts or duties on imports or exports, except what they may absolutely be necessary for executing the inspection laws. And the net produce of all duties and imports laid by any state on imports or exports shall be for the use of the Treasury of the United States, and all such laws shall be subject to the revision and control of the Congress. No state shall, without the consent of Congress, lay any duty on tonnage, keep troops or ships of war in time of peace, enter into any agreement or compact with another state, or with a foreign power, or emerge in war, unless actually invaded, or in such imminent danger as they will not admit of delay. That was all Article 1. Like, literally just Article 1. And all it did was establish what Congress could do. Okay. There, 6 more pages. Compared to this book, anyway. You know what? I'm going to read them all anyway. Because America. I'm not going to try to do Bill of Rights or anything. I'm just reading the Constitution. Article 2, Section 1. The executive power shall be vested in the President of the United States of America. He shall hold this office during the terms of 4 years, and together with the Vice President chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint, in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct, a number of electors, equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled, the Congress, but no senator, representative, or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed as an elector. So basically, The state has as many electors as they have members of Congress, but they cannot be the same people. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for two persons, of whom one at least shall be of the inhabitants of the same state as themselves. They shall make a list of the persons voted for, and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certifications, and the votes shall be then counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the President, if such the number of the majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if more than one who have such majority, and have an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. And if no person have a majority then of the five highest on the list, the said House shall, in like manner, choose the president. But in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by the states, the representation from each state having one vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary for a choice. In every state, after the choice of the president, the person having the greatest number of votes of the elections shall be the vice president. If there should remain two or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them the ballot of the vice president. Congress may determine the time of choosing of the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. No person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of the Constitution shall be eligible for the office of president. Neither shall any person be eligible in that office who shall not have attained the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States. Cool. In the case of removal of the President from office, or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the same shall devolve on the Vice President. And the Congress may, by law, provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability, both of the President and Vice President, declaring what officer acts then shall be President, and such officers shall be acting accordingly until the disability be removed, or the President shall be elected. The President shall, at all times stated, receive for his services a compensation, which shall neither be increased or diminished during the period for which he shall be elected. No midterm raises or demotions. And he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. So as your president, you only get money for being president. You don't get it from any other states or anything else. Before he enter the execution of his office, he shall take the oath or affirmations. I do solemnly swear, or affirm, that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. Nowhere did it say what kind of book it has to be sworn on. Just a sworn or affirmation. Cool. So, Cubs, I'm going to say this. Honestly, if I ever got elected president, it would be hilarious, but still, especially since I really hate politics. Okay. Doesn't say hand on the book or anything, it just says they have to say this oath. So, here's the oath. I'm saying it right now. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. I still wasn't saying read my lips because they're not moving. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm going to clip that just for the hell of me clipping things. Okay, that's a clip. Section 2. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States, and of the militia of several states. When called into the actual service of the United States, he may require an opinion, in writing, of the principal officer in each of the executive departments upon any subjects relating to the duties of their respective offices, and he shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States, except in cases of impeachment. Hey, there's a loophole. You cannot pardon an impeachment. Nice. Okay. He shall have power, by and with the advice of the consent of the Senate, to make treaties, provided 2/3 of the senators present concur. And he shall nominate, and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate, shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers of the United States, whose appointments are not herein otherwise provided for, and which shall be established by law, but the Congress may, by law, vest the appointments for such inferior officers as they think proper, and the President alone, in the court of laws, or in the heads of departments. The President shall have power to fill up the vacancies that can happen during the recess of Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. Section 3. He shall from time to time give to the Congress information of the state of the Union, and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. He may, on extraordinary occasions, convene both houses or either of them, and in case of disagreement between them, with respect of the time of adjournment, he may adjourn them to such time as he shall think proper. He shall receive ambassadors and other public ministers. He shall take care that the laws are faithfully executed, and shall commission all the officers of the United States. Section 4. The President, Vice Presidents, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Is that high crimes and misdemeanors thing again? Treason, bribery. Bribery seems to be a big thing nowadays. Okay, I just gotta share that for the hell of it. I'm sharing it. I'm tweeting it. I wonder if anyone would actually take me seriously about that. I mean, I literally meet all the qualifications. Just that weird. Okay. Article 3, Section 1. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation, which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. Section 2. The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under the Constitution, the laws of the United States, and treaties made, or which shall be made, under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and to cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same states claiming lands under grants for different states, and between a state or the citizens thereof and foreign states, citizens, and subjects. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and in such state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have the appellate jurisdiction, both as to law and fact, with such exceptions and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. The trial of all crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be by jury, and such trial shall be held in the states whereas said the crimes shall have been committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be in such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. Section 3. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act, or on confession in open court. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. Article 4. Almost done. Section 1. Full faith and credit shall be given in each state to the public acts, records, and judicial proceedings of every other state. And the Congress may, by general laws, prescribe the manner in which such acts, records, and proceedings shall be provided, and the effect thereof. Section 2. The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. A person charged in any state with treason, felony, or any other crime, who shall flee from justice and be found in another state, shall, on demand of the executive authority of the state from which he fled, be delivered up, to be removed to the state having jurisdiction of the crime. No person held to service or labor in one state, under the laws thereof, escaping into another, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom the service or labor may be due. So, indentured servitude gets into another state? Nope, you gotta go back. Section 3. New states may be admitted by the Congress into the Union, but no new states shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the jurisdiction of two or more states, or parts of the states, without the consent of legislatures of the states concerned, as well as of Congress. So basically, you have to have permission to split up a state, or if you want to make another state out of multiple states, you have to have all those states' permissions before you try it. Say, like making the Texas Panhandle. Well, Oklahoma Panhandle is its own state, which I really wish it would, but still. The Congress shall have power to dispose of and make all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory or other property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be construed as to the prejudice of any claims of the United States or of any particular state. Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this Union a republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or of the executive, when the legislative cannot be convened, against domestic violence. Article 5. The Congress, whenever two-thirds of both houses shall deem it necessary, shall propose amendments to this Constitution, or, on the application of legislature of two-thirds of several states, shall make a convention for proposing amendments, which, in either case, shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution, when ratified by the legislatures of three-fourths of the several states, or by conventions of three-fourths thereof, as the one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by Congress, provided that no amendments which may be made prior to the year 1808 shall in any manner affect the first and fourth clauses in the 9th section of the first article, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the states. Okay. Let's see, that's first and fourth clauses of the 9th section. Okay. That's one. Privilege of habeas corpus and no tax or duties. Okay. Article 6. All debts contracted and engagements entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution and under the Confederation. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance of, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any states to the contrary notwithstanding. Senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath and affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Let me read that one again. Okay. Central Senate start freaking rambling legalese. Okay. So this whole paragraph again. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of several states, shall be bound by oath or affiliation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to office or any public trust under the United States. Okay, I'm going back and clip that too. Okay, so I got that clip done. Article 7. The ratification of the conventions of 9 states shall be sufficient for the establishment of this Constitution between the states so ratifying the same. Done in convention by the unanimous consent of the United States, present at the 17th day of September in the year of our Lord, 1787, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 12th. In witness whereof we have hitherto subscribed our names. Then, of course, we got all the signatures, so I'm just going to read them out. George Washington, President and Deputy from Virginia. New Hampshire, John Langdon and Nicholas Gillum. Maryland, James McHenry, Dan of St. Thomas Jennifer. Daniel Carroll. Virginia, John Blair, James Madison Jr. North Carolina, William Blount, Richard Dobbs Spates, Hugh Williamson. Pennsylvania, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Milton. Robert Morris, George Clymer, Thomas Fitzsimmons, Jared Ingersoll, James Wilson, and Gouverneur Morris. Massachusetts, Nathaniel Gorham and Rufus King. Connecticut, William Samuel Johnson and Roger Sherman. New Jersey, William Livingston, David Beerley, William Patterson, Jonathan Dayton. New York, Alexander Hamilton. Delaware, George Reed, Gunning Bedford Jr., John Dickinson, Richard Bassett, Jacob Broom. South Carolina, John Rutledge, Charles Coatsworth Pinckney, Charles Pinckney. Pierce Butler. From Georgia, William Few and Abraham Baldwin. And to attest, William Jackson, Secretary. Well, Cubs, there you have it. That was the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Things change over time. They really do. As I said, that was the Constitution before they added the Bill of Rights. But most of what they had in the Bill of Rights, they also had listed in the Declaration of Independence. So, there you go. Yeah, posting that clip. Okay. Alexander Hamilton. I don't want to watch that. I could, but I don't want to. It was fun to watch the first time, but I don't think I could watch it repeatedly because I'm not big on politics in general. Admittedly, I just essentially swore in oath to office, but that doesn't mean I'm ever going to get voted into office. I mean, who wants a wolf eat two birds president? Raise your hand. Anyone? Anyone? No? It'd be kind of funny. I really wouldn't want to be president. I mean, I don't even like role-playing politics, much less actually being in politics. I don't know. I can't think of anything else I wanted to do today. I just wanted to get those read. I don't know who's on. Nope. Desk is on. Papa Penguin's on. Snowpuff is on. I don't know. I don't see anyone with oil. I don't really see anyone I want to raid. I don't know if anyone was listening in on this or not, because It was kind of a random stream. Well, random as in I announced it this morning and thought I'd do it, but you know, I'm not going to be here for roughly a week. Gonna get out of the heat of Texas and see if I can find some Rocky Mountain temperatures to enjoy. But hey, I want you Cubs to be good while I'm gone. Drinking more of that British tea. The expressions work a little bit better using the V Bridger and Meow Face, but it doesn't get mouth movements. I don't know how to fix that. And I'm kind of too lazy to do so. Oh, sure. Sure, it gets my yawn. But, I really can't think of anything to raid. Excuse me. And Dusk is playing Bioshock. Pupper's playing Crab Game. Foxy is playing League of Legends, and Papa Penguin is playing Zelda. Damn. I haven't even had any alcohol yet. But, yeah, I think I may just close out for the night. Tell you all to have a good weekend. And if you miss me, I do have the video on demand. Come back and watch last week's stories or go to my YouTube channel. Oh, all these Pokemon messages, and I didn't see Gary's message on there. Dang it. When did they post? Uh, oh well. Thank you for lurking anyway. I mean, I was just reading government documents not stolen by Nick Cage. But, thank you for the lurk anyway. Said I'm skipping town for the week and going to Colorado, so. That's pretty much all I had planned for the night, was just reading the Declaration and the Constitution. Me and really old documents. Man, tea is not keeping me awake. Okay, well, I really feel like I should raid into someone. I'm not sure who, though. Any other people reading right now? Nope, I am the only reader. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Uh, I don't know. I might just go and close out. I really can't think of anyone to raid that would be appropriate for for the subject matter anyway. Man, too many yawns. I just gotta crawl into bed or something. What is the dreepy? I guess I'll find out. Um, yeah, I'm probably just gonna go sleep. I don't know what time we're planning on leaving in the morning. So, have a good night, everyone, and I hope your liberties aren't too damaged by what we've been doing lately. Uh, have a good night.